Hello, everyone. I am Chibi Joe, and we're here with the next part of Writer's Journey. Probably one of my most inconsistent series in terms of uploads, and I do apologize for that. I just get caught up in life, and I tend to forget that I have other other like responsibilities. I stream 4 days a week. I am trying to write scripts for the rest of it, and I really do need to make time for this series because I love this series. It's actually a really fun series to get my thoughts out and everything, and it's also I hope it's entertaining to you all who get to listen to it. So, uh, moving forward into it. Oh, my neck needs to pop. There we go. So we're now going into the era of writing after high school. So I finally graduated, and there was like a 2 year span where I didn't have internet. So I wrote all of these in notebooks, um, and a lot of them were fan fiction. Actually, all of them were fan fictions. Um, Nightmare was like my last original story. I mean, all of them were original in the sense of they weren't the stories told in the games or anime that I was writing them based on. Um, Even most of the villains and stuff were my own villains, or at least my own take on the villains, similar to like a DC multiverse, where in one universe the Joker was a comedian, in another ones he was a mob boss, and another one he's just a full-on anarchist. It's very similar to that, where I'm like, okay, so here's this concept, I'm going to change this aspect. The first one I wrote, and I could be wrong in the order that I wrote them, but they're the ones that I remember writing in this order, or at least finishing in this order, because a lot of these I actually finished. The first one was a second attempt at Final Fantasy VII. It's actually the exact same story I wrote in sixth grade, but expanded on. I think it took like a full notebook. I don't think it took two notebooks. I think it was just a 70-page notebook story. And I was pretty proud of it. It was actually really well done. And I mean, I would get better in terms of structure. But the story is, it's based on, again, Cloud's brother, Zero. He is not a character in Final Fantasy. He's my own character. He was part of the Soldier 2.0 project, which was a project after the burning of Nibelheim. Hojo said, "How about I give you the strength to avenge what happened here?" Because they were hunting down Sephiroth. And even though they thought Sephiroth was dead, Hojo knew better. And so Hojo's like, how about we create even stronger soldiers? And so like they're basically soldiers that have been consuming Mako energy. And so it courses through their blood. Like it's not like, because like in how they make it sound in there is they were showered in Mako energy. This one is like, it's in everything they eat. It's in everything they drink. Like it's coursing through their body, as a nutrient. And so instead of blue eyes or like green eyes, um, their eyes are more reddened because it's a more concentrated Mako exposure. And so, um, only like 100 of them survive, and then Kadaj, Loz, and Yazoo come in, and they basically like brainwash all of Soldier. They basically like, because like Soldier was based in Mount Condor, near Junon, and so um they take over the 100 Soldier 2.0s, and all of the other soldier members. And Zero fights his way out of it and makes his way to the lower slums of Midgar, which is now, I think they call it Edge, right? Like that's what they end up calling it in for Advent Children. Or something similar to that with the WRO. He ends up going to the seventh heaven, and that's where he meets up with everyone. Him and Cloud end up getting into a fight, and he ends up fighting his ex-girlfriend and ends up killing her. Him, and to run it short, like that was the big conflict, was him versus, I think Rika was her name, and she was number 8, I think. He was number 4, she was number 8. And because they were based from power levels. And so, or maybe she was with number 8. I think maybe she was like number 3 or number 2. And Cloud and him worked together to fight those two. While everyone else was like fighting the normal soldier members. Him and Yuffie end up getting close throughout the story, and that was like the big love interest. And then it ends with them getting on the High Wind to basically try to find where the other members are, because they're basically, because Zero's mission is either he has to kill them all, or he has to kill Kadaj, Loz, or Yazoo. And so, like, that's how the book ended. This is a very abridged version. Like, again, this was 70 pages long. There was also a fight in the bar with somebody that was harassing Tifa, which I don't know why I had Tifa, like, I didn't have Tifa handle it, because Tifa's a master martial artist, but I didn't. So, yeah, that was a thing I had back then. Not necessarily like the damsel in distress, but like, I'm gonna fight so you don't have to mentality. Like, that was a really common theme during this time. So you're gonna hear me talk about that. Like, there was like one moment when someone who's perfectly capable of defending themselves didn't, because someone else got there first. It was a really weird trend. Would I ever write this again? No. Or if mainly because it's a fan fiction, but if I didn't have like the mindset I have to not write fan fiction, I would probably I would do it, but I think I said this is the first time I wrote, or the first time I talked about my first attempt back in 6th grade. I would not make Zero Cloud's brother. I would not have him. I would not have him with that connection to the main cast. I would have him be not trustworthy, and he has to earn his trust through various means, even if it's like cleaning, the bar, keeping his weapons under wraps. One other thing that I made with the Soldier 2.0 is that their bodies host materia. I got the idea from Dirge of Cerberus, where the chaos materia is actually like within Vincent. They basically did that, but with like any old materia. And so they always had the ability to use magic without the worry of running out of mana points or magic points. So, yeah. Would I write this again? No. If I didn't have the moral against fan fictions, not really the moral against fan fiction, but like I don't want to really write a lot of fan fictions. I mean, I guess I really don't. This is where I go back and forth myself because like my audio dramas are based in Ruby, but most of them are like completely original stories. You know what? Fuck it. Would I write this again? Probably, but I would have to make a lot of changes. There's just a lot of things I liked about it that I came up with as an advancement because I usually did that. I took like a concept and I'm like, well, what would the next level be? And you're going to be hearing that a lot in the future episodes. Like I have one for Naruto, one for Pokemon, one for the one for Pokemon will be a real short one because I didn't write that far. But there was one for Naruto, one for Pokemon. There was a short one I attempted to write with Evangelion. There was one. Let me think. There was one for Blue Exorcist. There was one for Soul Eater. Which that one was fun. The Soul Eater one was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, this was the Final Fantasy VII one. I don't know why. I guess I sometimes forget that like Grove and Ash of the Leaves are based in the Ruby universe. Because they're original stories, and even like Broken, even though they have characters from the canon universe, it's such a far feeling from the original story that I sometimes forget. And then Jasper is a parallel to the main story, so I don't know why I was like saying, "Oh, I don't write fan fiction." I do. So for anyone that was like commenting that, I acknowledged it eventually. It took me a bit, but I got there. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm more of ashamed that I like tried denying it than anything. We all have those moments though. This is going like a lot longer than it probably should have. But anyways, I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to try to be more consistent. I know I probably said that before. But I hope you guys will be patient with me if I'm not. I'll see you guys next time. Have an awesome day and a good night.